Let us begin with that unique sloka, stotra, the prayer that take me from the darkness to the light, from ignorance to knowledge, from mortality to immortality. So that stotra will chant and then we will discuss. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mritturma amritam gamaya aviravi ma edhi rudram yatte dakshinam mukham tena mam pahi nityam. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Friends, we are discussing about the Vedic society, and in this particular topic, the Vedic society, it comes in the series of the talk, the Saga of the Soul. In this Vedic society, the first 27th March, we discussed about the definition and the characteristics of the society. Then second, the 3rd April, we discussed and tried to know the structure of the society at the time of the Veda. Today, we will continue that same discussion to understand the social life of the people at the time of the Vedas and also their religious life, Vedic gods and goddesses. Condition of the people as described in the early Vedas, that I will read out from here. It says the religion prevailed in society, Vedic time, particularly Rig Veda. They are quoting from the Rig Veda, the very first scripture from where we can understand the civilized society, civilization, condition. And it says that religion prevailed in the society. Most of the people were pious, truthful and moderate. Then afterwards, these Vedic sages, according to the characteristics and the condition of the society, they have divided the society, the period of time, as Satya Yuga, and Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, Kali Yuga, like that. 4 divisions they made. For everything, I don't know why 4. If you see in Hindu, everything is 4. There's a 4 Purushartha and the 4 life stages, brahmacharya, garastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. Here also, this time also, it is 4. And this 4, the first yuga is called Satya Yuga. Why? The most of the people, they were pious. That is the main reason. Not that all were pious, 100% were pious. No, it is not possible. Why? Because we find in the Rig Veda, they are addressing the God, praying to God and the blessings of God to give the power so that they can slay or they can fight their enemies. That means enemies were there, fightings were there, cruelty was there. So all this religion prevailed in the society. Most of the people were pious, truthful, moderate. From nature worship, slowly they were going to the thought idolatry. Thence, the perfection of toleration, that also came in that time. The seers prayed for the prosperity and progress of the country and people, prayed for good outturn of agriculture. This is in the Rig Veda, the 4th chapter and the 10th chapter. It is mentioned like this. Why they are mentioning? Because both the things, they are always they were giving the consideration, importance were given in both. Only a group of people, a handful of people who were seers, the rishis, the thoughtful people, they understood the importance of the spiritual life. But they understood, the majority of the people won't understand this. But the moral values, if it preserves in the life, that is sufficient. So they were giving the moral values, and it is possible when the economical status is good, economically they are well off, then only people can maintain all these moralities. I have seen people dislodged coming from other countries, refugees, they are taking refuge from other countries, they are crossing the border. Terrible. But most of the people were good. They were good fathers, they were good brothers, they had a wonderful. But when they are in this type of, now again we can see regularly the news is coming that from they are crossing, they are trying to take. At that time, no one can maintain the morality. So these Vedic seers, they understood it, and they again and again praying that this should be the prosperity, progress of the country and people, prayed for the good outturn of agriculture. Trade, both in inland and foreign, was undisturbed and good. There was seaborne trade also. The huge ships would build ships, it used to go out. And many of the people, they used to go from here to the Middle East. And recently when I visited the UAE, United Arab Emirates, the cities of that country, they are having a Hindu temple. And they told it was long back, the Hindus, they used to, the ships they there, stop over there for repairing and other things. And naturally the Hindus cannot, particularly the business community, always depend on the God's grace. They built a temple over there. But these people, they used to give food and other things to the Arabs who were very, very poor. And I developed the presentation that is really amazing. 71 or 73, they got the freedom. They rebuilt the whole country, but didn't destroy the temple, because they remembered their previous generation, they were helped by some people, and it is their temple. You know that one movement came to destroy one, they called Hindus, they call it is a Ram Janmabhoomi, Ram's shrine, and the Muslims called, no, it is a masjid, and there was a tension in the society. That time, some people, I heard, they destroyed that Hindu temple. But immediately the government punished them, deported them, and reconstructed that Hindu temple again. So this is the culture. I don't believe in your faith or religion, but it doesn't matter. You continue, you like this thing, so I am helping you. So that it was there at the time of the Veda, this tremendous, perfect toleration. And that is why in the Hindu society it is percolating, continuing this toleration. And all the Hindu scriptures, they talk about the toleration. And they say, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the whole universe is my family. So that type of prayer. And when they are praying for each and every one, that toleration, right from the time of Vedic age, it is coming down, and they were very rich people because of the business and also for the agriculture and other things. And the joint family system was there at the time of the Rig Veda. We find in the first chapter, 114 mantra, it's a father was the feeder and the protector. In the father was the feeder and the protector, mother was the mistress of the family, sons were known by the names of their fathers. Still till today, they are known by the. So that is the tradition coming down from the Veda. And nowadays, of course, they are adding the name of the mother also, and they say it is possible, in the law they are adjusting, but in previously it was like this. Wife was the inseparable partner of the husband. Ordinarily, the son would inherit the property of the person. And in default of a son, daughter's son was the heir. So here, why not the daughter? Why daughter's son? In the Muslim also that we find that they divided because of this particular idea. When the Hazrat Muhammad passed away, then the Khalifa that they were maintaining, then the another group, they demanded Hazrat Muhammad's daughter's son. They are here. And why not they? They should be our leader, Hassan and Hussein. So then from there they divided Shia and Sunni. These two different groups came. Only from there, all these traditions in different religion, nowadays in the different religion, but it was there in the beginning in the Veda, and all the people living in that whole area are directly, indirectly influenced by these systems. There was marriage of the daughters with worthy bridegrooms. Jewelries and wealth had to be given to the daughter. The same system till today it is continuing. In marriage there were sports, amusements, song, dance, music, feast and fancy dresses of the bride and the bridegroom. When we listen these from the Rig Veda, they are quoting Rig Veda, the 10th chapter, and we think that it is again here only, and in our life, today's life, all these things are continuing. So that whatever we see today, mostly it is coming down from the Rig Vedic time. And it says the bridegroom also used jewelries and perfumes. And today also, nowadays, the bridegrooms are using the jewelries. They are having lot of chains and golden bangles and the rings. Perfumes, of course, it is of course there. So that is all the time, it is continuously it is there. Marriage fee, that was also there. Rich dowry were in use. King Sana married his daughters to another king and gave him a fortune and a gift. And the rishis, they also used to marry the rich people's daughters. The great sage Richika married Satyavati, the daughter of Gadhi, the king of Kanauj, and obtained a lot of wealth from the father. So it is always there. The daughters should be married with the fine dress and jewelry. In the Rig Veda it mentions. Women were expert in housekeeping, very attentive to the training of their children, expert in cooking, and devoted to learning. Devahuti, Aditi, Apala, etc. These are the famous names of those days women. And they could prepare this particular three, they are mentioning, Devahuti, Aditi and Apala, could prepare excellent sweetmeats, cakes, pudding with ghee and milk, etc. So we wish that they were here today. So now these people, they were developing this. This is called culture. Somehow something we eat and then we fill up and then we work. That is not the culture. Food is also culture. Dress is also culture. And each and everything that we see, it is a manifestation of the culture. We have seen how nicely when they give the plate, here always we find people are busy, so anywhere you go, there are all things are there, you go and pick up. That is good system, but we have seen how they give the plate, nicely decorated. So many varieties of food will be there, and they know from where the one person should start eating, and that will be properly given. Ultimately, for our cases, that it goes to the sweets. So that way it is there, that same culture coming down from here, from the Vedic time. And because of this, we know afterwards the whole Europe wanted to find out India, because of the richness, because of the culture, because of the other things. Europe wanted to go and have some business and slowly captured the land also, all because of the prosperity. But afterwards we will find why, along with the prosperity in the military art, why it had reduced. And here we find the administration also. We find in the Rig Veda the mention of the Raja, then Nagarapati, and also the Gramapati. Gramapati means the village chief, Nagarpati is the district chief, and the Raja is the overall of the king. And above the king there were Maharajas. So they were having many kings under them. So that was the administration. And they mention like this: there were a proper arrangements for good rule, collection of revenue, and warfare. There were towns, villages, palaces, rest houses, roads, carriages, arms and weapons, soldiers, sports, trade, hospitality to strangers, everything. And the Aryans knew artwork and architecture. This is from the Rig Veda again they are quoting. And the economy, the Aryans knew the use of various metals such as gold, silver, iron. There were blacksmiths, potter, carpenter, barber, tailors, physicians, priests, goldsmith, weavers, etc., etc. There were currency of money, chiefly of gold. There were beautiful villages and towns, brick and stone built houses, and broad streets, roads, fine steps for ascent on hills, fine carts drawn by the ponies, sea-going vessels, fine clothes, turbans, jewels, and jewelries, etc., all were very common use. And mostly the picture that come down, that there we see, the most of the people, they are having a big turban. Almost all Indians used to have the turbans covering the head, and the jewelries, fine clothing, everything was there. But at the same time we find the picture of the rishis. They used to be inside the jungle, mostly not wearing that pop clothing, very the very scanty clothing, bare bodies, but they are meditating. I saw one picture which inspired me to become a monk long back when I was a small kid. I saw the picture, from where it came I don't know, maybe from a book, that a monk is sitting, long beard and the matted hair and all that. One side, one tiger is lying down, and the other side there is a deer. We can understand the tiger and the relation, the tiger and the deer, but the tiger and deer both were very friendly because of the rishi. Then I understood at that age, if you don't have inside the mind the hatred, then you can make each and every one peaceful. So that is the goal of the rishihood, and I thought one day I must become. I am still trying. The learned Aryans spoke and composed hymns in almost classical Sanskrit. There were two castes only, and no other caste. Caste means the Aryans and non-Aryans. These are the only difference, and no other caste were there. The women's and all others, they used to compose the Vedic hymns and other works. And that is the very important, that we must notice it. But sometimes some people, they are in the hierarchies of the Hindu religion, they say women should not read the Veda, and if there is any women and the ladies, then we should not go over there. It's wrong, completely wrong. Who imposed all these things? So this is, it says that, and then music, song, dance, feast, lighting became national in India from the earliest Vedic period. Vedic features were of several kinds, religious, and all these festivals and different times. One is religious festival, harvesting festival, and ceremonial festivals. And I have still seen, in the particular in Assam, the whole village, when they are harvesting, the elderly people, they will be there, they are not working inside the field. All the young people who can work, they are working inside the field. Elderly people, children, they will be waiting, and they will be singing wonderful bhajans, and the music will go on continuously for the whole day. There will be feast, and after all that harvesting, they will come and join. So that same thing is continuously going on. It's called harvesting. In the Assam, we have seen there's so many, they call it bihus. Bihus means the functions, and different type of bihus will be there. Sometimes in the bihu, some function, they will treat the animals, particularly cows and buffaloes, and very nicely, washing them, and so many other things they will do on the particular day. All this slowly coming and coming down from the Vedic time. So these are the ceremonies. The villagers would meet together during some auspicious hour, make an altar, light a holy fire, spread the kusha grasha. There's a special type of grasha that we usually use when you meditate. First thing will be the kusha grasha, and ask various deities to sit upon them. When we also offer the seat so that the deities can come and sit, invoking them by names, singing hymns in their praise for health, wealth, peace, and progeny. After offering the products of their field, soma juice and other things, the villagers should sit together to dine and drink their fill. The prasada, that is, they will first offer to the god, and then they believe that gods are coming and touching. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna also mentioned the gods do not take from the mouth, but they touch it and make it sanctified through their light. It comes from their eyes, is touching everything. There's many in occasions this has been mentioned. At night, in light, they would chant Vedic hymns to please the gods and would dance together, both men and women. Often, distant relations were invited to dine with them. Now, they are giving one incident that happened, as I mentioned in the Rig Veda, 10th chapter, 28th sloka. The wife of Indra regrets the absence of a relative in a feast, and she said, "All others are come, but what wonder my father-in-law is not come. Would he come, he could eat fried barley and soma juice." They're not good food, but anyway, fried barley he could eat, and after an excellent dinner, he could go home again. And most of the time, we have seen that our ladies, also mothers and aunties, they are mentioning this type of things, why they have not come, they could enjoy. Same thing, the wife of Indra, she is also mentioning. The life is almost the same, it goes, and this way. Now, in the beginning of this series of lecture, the saga of the soul, we have already discussed the mystery of creation. The Hindu views is that this universe has been created by a creator out of his own. Better to say, the creator has become the creation. And since this unique creator is beyond the time, space and causation, it cannot be expressed but can be realized. We cannot say or describe Brahman, the creator. Because of this, a few that features or something about someone who realized God or the Brahman, they have given the Brahman the name that has been given to make to understand the creator, given an indication about the creator. What is that? Sat Chit Ananda. Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa, the embodiment of the existence, knowledge and bliss. And this is the argument they say, that the moment you see these people, anyone, the created being, they don't like to die. And that is because it is inherent, it is coming from there. From the creator, it is coming down to the creation, existence, knowledge and bliss. The human being, the best among all the creatures, has the quality and the curiosity to know everything. At the dawn of the civilization, a group of humans who are known as Aryans, observing the natural phenomena, as a poet in Hindi he expressed, and it's very, very poetical. He said, साहिल से टकराते हुए लहर को देखकर, आसमान को चूमते हुए पहाड़ को देखकर, बड़े बड़े पेड़ों को आसानी से उखाड़ते हुए हवा को देखकर, etc. It goes on in that list. Amazed by the size and power of the huge waves breaking on the seashore, Sahil, you will find in many Indian names, Sahil. Mostly the Muslims, they use this name because the Urdu word. The Sahil means the shore. So there the huge waves are coming and breaking, observing that, again seeing the tall mountains as if kissing the sky, observing the strength of the wind uprooting at ease the gigantic trees, the ancient Aryans started believing in the existence of a conscious agent, and called it God or the Deva. So we have seen in the society life, now the spiritual life of those people. Why this? Why we need God? Why we need the spiritual life? Because we cannot live without that. That is very special, and that proves that we are, as Swami Vivekananda said, potentially divine. We are divine because we cannot stay without being that. So they say the relation between religion and human being is like the relation between the water and the fish. Fish cannot survive without water. Water is a must for its survival. Religion also. So how that religion came, how the gods came. In the beginning it says, there's a wonderful book. There's a lot, many volumes are there. It says, the cultural heritage of India. There's a collections of wonderful the writings. From there, I found is the uniformity and the regularity in the nature, that they got the name Rita. They mentioned it as Rita, and this is actually a system. Uniformity and regularity. Sun is rising every day without fail, and also setting down without fail. Moon is again coming after the sun. It's going on. Everything that you observe, that is really as if somebody is controlling all those things. And not a single day, moment, anything is disturbed. So the uniformity in the nature, that is called the Rita, convinced the Aryans that there must be someone somewhere controlling everything. This supreme controller must be supremely perfect, all-knowing and ever-conscious. The Vedic rishis, and after them all the schools of Hindu philosophy, they accepted the Adi Deva, the prime God, the supreme Brahman, and the Aryans accepted the existence of devas and gods. In the beginning, we find the Aryans, they are giving the names of some natural phenomena. When they saw that it is raining, and you can understand in those days torrential rain, so they gave the name of a god of that rain. Then the thunder, the lightning, so they gave the name of one god. And then also they are seeing how everything is surviving as if someone is protecting. Again, someone is destroying. All these things they gave the name, and the Rudra, Varuna, Agni, Indra, all these gods and goddesses came in, mostly the 12 gods and goddesses. And afterwards, very interestingly, this I want to tell you, are they really all mythological gods, imagining like that? Some people they say, because of these the wonderful phenomena, they gave the name of the gods, conception of God from there. Then the conception of God came from the mains, our ancestors who died, where they have gone. So they started giving the names and the ancestors, and they started telling that the gods. But the recent researches of the Hindu history, they are mentioning actually historically these people were there, and they were so useful for the whole community, so they started calling them the devas. So these pages I will try to read out before you. And majority of the Aryans, they started meditating, and they started only his own life in a secluded place, not involving inside the society, not marrying at all. So this was going on. Slowly they became weak, the number dwindled, and it says in the 3000 years BC, Aryan society, they became very weak, the number dwindled. So the thoughtful Aryans, they lived apart from the mass. So that was the research they used to do all the time. And it is not only one or two, majority of the people retiring from the society, going and sitting inside the jungle and the cave, secluded places, and trying to concentrate, trying to find out some new ideas. It was going on. Many of them seldom married, though there was no, they could marry, that was the allowed, the rishis, they were not sannyasins. The conception of sannyasi came afterwards. They were not sannyasins, they were rishis, they could marry, but they were not interested. The result was that in half a century, the Aryan mass of the north particularly became very rotten. The moral downfall of the Aryans clearly depicted in the Mahabharata Shanti Parva, chapter 59. The sages, alarmed at this condition, state of the society, informed the Brahma, the great Aryan seer. Now the Brahma was someone, Brahma, not Brahman. Brahma was the great seer. We can understand that too. And they have, afterwards, they have given an idea that Brahma was having 4 heads. Why? Because he knew all the 4 Vedas. So the Brahma now, if you go and see the image, he is having the four heads. All the four Vedas he could speak. Just imagining. And then again a face facing to the sky, and there he is not telling anything in awe. So all these imaginations. So naturally, when we imagine, we go on giving and painting so many other things about these people. But they were historical people. When the Brahma heard about it, then he summoned, held an assembly of the sages and seers, and he addressed them in this way: seers and sages, you have to go to the society, and they are telling seers and sages to allow society to go on without the best thinkers to guide the mass is to leave the body without the head. The Brahma is mentioning that if there is no thoughtful people, it will be the mass, the society will be as if a body without a head. They are necessary. True wisdom, the path of salvation, is attainable, now he is telling, in the world and not in aloofness from it. So this is necessary. The thinkers are necessary, but the society is the body, thinkers are the head. But if only head is sustaining, not the body, then what the head will do? So this he is mentioning over here. It is attainable in the world and not in aloofness. So I desire, it says, so I desire those of you who are still young to marry and beget virtuous children for the benefit of the society. So that he addressed to the society. What happened? All modestly bowed to his reasonable command, but many declined to marry. For fear of the loss of penance and peace. Only 21 distinguished seers, including Brahma himself, married. So this is in the historical perspective of the gods, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar, and afterwards, if today, the next class maybe, we will discuss in details about the Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar, what is their contribution, where they lived, why they were given the post of God. So here it says the Brahma, when he said, mostly they all left without obeying him, but paying respect to him, and they were free. See, no one was compelled with that order. They were free to choose. Only 21 they married, and Prajapati, they were known as the Prajapati. The only 21 rishis, they obeyed the Brahma and Brahma himself, and they were known as the Prajapati, namely progenitors. The great sage Bhrigu, he begot 14 sons. Of them 2 only, Chabana and Apnubhan, became the seers, and the 12 became Devatas. Now this word is coming. The 12 became Devatas, that means the great enlightened persons. So these Devatas. So from the Bhrigu, his 14 sons, only 2 became the seers and the others became the Devatas. Then after of this latter, Daksha, the youngest, founded a small kingdom near the source of the Ganges, with his capital at Kankal. The most of the Indians, they know the Kankal is a very holy place. They all go and dip over there. And this Kankal was the capital of the Daksha, 2 miles from south of Hardwar. The 7 seers known in history as the Saptorshi are said to have been the ancestors of the high caste Hindus in India. The era called the Saptarshi started in Kashmir in honor of them. The line of the 7 seers, the Saptarshis, is the Marichi, from there the Kashyapa, etc. Then Atri, from there the Soma. This Marichi and Kashyapa and Vaivashwan, these are the names when we are reading the scripture, we all come across again and again the Marichi, Kashyap and Vaivashwan. From them originated the solar dynasty, the Surya Vamshi. Then you will find some of the kings having a symbol, even when they are putting the tilak, a symbol of a sun, rising sun. Surya Vangsha came from the Marichi and Kashyapa. Then Atri and Soma, from them comes the lunar dynasty. These are the two main dynasties. Then Angira, afterwards Pulastha, then Pulaha and Gati, then afterwards this Krutu, and lastly Vasishtha. These are the 7 seers. This is called Saptarshi. When you look at the sky, some people, they always mention the 7 stars are there, they call it Saptarshi. And we always give in this way so that we can remember. And some of the countries, they keep, particularly in America, after the president, he retires, he makes a library in his name, and that will remain, whatever he has done in his tenure, that will be there. So the museum sort of thing, they can go and remember. And the images, same thing happened there also, because these 7 rishis, they contributed, and these 7 rishis, the great sage Vigu, from him came the Daksha, the youngest son, and founded the kingdom in the Ganges. Brahma and the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas of the ancient dynasties were descended from these 7 seers. So they were brothers, cousins, we can say. This is coming down. Rig Veda, the Sanskrit epic, and the Puranas have mentioned many distinguished kings who belong neither to the solar nor to the lunar dynasty. And Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva make the Hindu trinity. Brahma is the creator, Vishnu the preserver, and Shiva the destroyer. And MacDonald, in Sanskrit literature, A. MacDonald, he is mentioning like this: historically, Brahma, the great Aryan sage, regenerated the Aryans by asking the seers to rise up at that time. And Mahabharata, Brahma Vaivarta Purana, Brahma Khanda chapter, and this Sri Krishna Kanda chapter, all they give evidences of this. Marichi's son Kashyapa, so called from Kashya, his name came, he was a great warrior, Marichi's son. And then from them, it is there mentioned in the Raj Tarangini, very ancient history of India, that he had fought with the person and then got the Kashmir. And the Kashmir name came from this Kashyapa. Kashyapa Meru, from that Kashmir. And the Meru afterwards became Mir. So Kashyapa, Mir, Kashmir. This name came from this Kashyapa, who was the son of the Marichi, one of the 7 best seers. Saptarshi, the Marichi. This Kashyapa, then the Dakshas and all these things are there. And this Kashyapa had 2 wives. And he says, one is Diti. Why the Diti? And he was having, she gave the birth of 2 powerful sons, namely Hiranyakaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, from them came the Daityas. They became famous as the Daityas. They were very, very powerful warriors, and also they could, very good organizers, they could make many other things. So from the Diti's son, it came down to Daityas, from them this coming, and another wife, second wife Aditi, and the Kashyapa's second wife Aditi, from that came 12 sons, and they were known as Adityas. The Dadash Aditya, they became the gods. The new Aryans occupied all north of the Himalaya. And about 2860 BC, the Daityas and these Daitya Aryans and the Devas, they became very powerful. And we can understand the same father, two mothers, they were brothers, but they were not liking each other. These Daityas and the Devatas. The excellent people that the world has perhaps yet produced were the Devas, the Adityas, the Devas. Many of the prominent Devas have long passed for gods and have lost their original historic characters. They were excellent men, the shining ones are the Devas. Now we give the following proofs. They were historically the historical characters, but afterwards they were considered as the Devatas. Yudhishthira, while speaking to Death, the king of the Death, he observed, and he is mentioning, Yudhishthira using these words. This is very interesting. Nobody can escape death. We know that the Dharmaraj, he was asking the question, Yudhishthira giving the answer, and in the conversation he was speaking about the death, and there he mentioned, nobody can escape death. Death kills the Devas, the Danavas, and the Gandharvas and all. The Mahabharata Drona Parva, it is there. Again, the Narada also speak on death. He says, the Devas also with Indra at their head die like men. If the Devas, a celestial being, if they were not having the death, why the Narada and the Yudhishthira they are mentioning? So Devas were also the historical personalities. This is a really new thing that we should try to understand. But the exalted life that made them the Devata. Now, Jesus Christ, millions and millions are worshipping him. Lord Buddha, half of the world bowing down at his feet. So similarly, the Krishna, the Rama, Chaitanya, Sri Ramakrishna. And are they really gods from the heaven? Or they are historical personalities? They are historical. We know, because it is contemporary, 2000 years, the Jesus Christ, but still it is very close to us. And they are historical because all the evidences are there, and at the same time they are gods. Why gods? Swami Vivekananda, he has answered this question. Why should we call a human being as God? To answer this, he said, whatever the best qualities a human brain could conceive, could think, if we find those qualities manifested in a human being, why not call him God? Who the God then will be? Just imaginary? So here we find, even the Narada is telling, Devas also with the Indra at their head die like men. The Devas also have mortal names and frames. Mahabharata, the Drona Parva, it says. In reply to the taunt of Indra, the king of the Devas, Bali, the king of the Daityas, said, O Indra, I, you, and all others who will in time obtain the Indraship. The Indra is a position, is a post. Or obtain the Indraship will go the same way as hundreds of Indras have already gone. This Indraship is not held by anybody forever. Many others will gain the Indraship in future. In Mahabharata Shanti Parva is mentioning, quoting from there. So this Bali, Indra, we know that God, and Indra we consider as the mythological god, but no, how come the Bali is conversing with him, and in the conversation he is reminding him, you will also die, though today you are the Lord of all the gods, very powerful, but day will come when you will also die. The Devas belong to many families, the most important being the Aditya, the Vasudeva, Basu, and then Tushita, the Marut, and Maharajika. These are finally one name they have mentioned, that is called the family of the Rudra. And these families were 33. The 33 of the Devas attained special excellence and became most distinguished. These 33 Devas became afterwards in popular legend manifested into 33 crores of Devas. Now if you ask the Hindus how many gods and goddesses you are having, they will say 33 crores. But where from this 33 came? From the three, and these three were Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar. From the three became 33, because these 33s mostly different families, 33 strong families, and they were in the character, in the behavior, in the manners, they lived exalted. So people started considering them the gods, 33 gods, and then afterwards, when people started talking about them, they started talking like this, they became 33 crores. Friends, this wonderful the research work we will study in the next class. From the Matsya Purana chapter, and it says in the chapter 95, they say the home of the different people of that time, where were the Daityas, where were the Devas, where were the Danavas, all, and trying to give mostly the time frame also. And the Daityas and the Devatas, they started fighting, Deva Danava Yuddha. War between the Deva and Danava, it was continuing long back. They are in 2860 BC, and that time something happened, and from that we will learn from the next class. So thank you very much. Before we conclude, if you have any question.
You mentioned Vivekananda, the Shanti Parva. When Yudhishthira, his four brothers along with him, were thirsty and they and at that time Yudhishthira got worried and he came to the lake where they were lying dead. And the mystical voice came, was heard by Yudhishthira. And the mystical voice...
Now, this is the history, but what is your question?
Yeah, the question is based on my this important prefatory remark. Because without that one, the question will not make any sense. He said, the voice said, O great king, the whole universe is under the control of Ishvara. And thou shalt not grieve for your brother. He is the one who unites us all. He is the one who divides us all. My question now is, when he heard this voice, and the word mentioned Ishvara, who was Ishvara?
Oh, you are mentioning that when it is controlled under that. See, these now the gods we are talking about, they are not Ishvaras. They are the gods we are talking about. But it is also said that conception of the Brahman was already there. The rishis, they understood the conception of the Brahman, all pervading consciousness, but that came, what I am trying to point out is the gods about whom we think that they are mythological beings, and some people they only imagined about them. I am trying to tell that no, they may be historical also. So that is my point here explaining. About you, that who is the Ishvara, that conception was long back in the Rig Veda itself, but it's telling. From his, the breathing, everything came out. Isn't it in the Rig Veda? The Rig Veda mentioning about that same Ishvara, all pervading, all powerful, controlling everything, who created and entered into the creation, all these ideas were there. I am trying to point out here about the gods, and every time it is mentioning about the small letter, G, not in capital, small letters. So these are the gods about whom we ordinarily think they are mythological, imaginative. It's not. So the Rudra, whom we call as the Shiva, he was also a human being, and he was living at the period. He did this thing, the Brahma, but not Brahman. Again and again I was mentioning, it's not the Brahman, it is the Brahma. So, yes.
Yes, Swamiji, my question is related to the history. What you have said, that people during the Vedic ages, they were lived very prosperous, and they made very buildings with bricks and mortar and all. But yet we don't find any remains of those buildings in India, like any archaeological research has not shown any monuments or any buildings from that time.
So Mohenjo-daro Harappa, we can quote from that. The Mohenjo-daro Harappa was excellent. Almost all the time, the 2900, 2800, the period, 3000 years, it's all covering that same period also. And this time, the Vedic time, we find the mentions of the wonderful construction, wonderful building, where it was. So naturally, of course, most of the time they have mentioned in the same book, majority of the time the construction was not of mortars but of woods. And that is the reason they never used the stones or the mortars but of the woods. And that's why it is very difficult to find out the, as you were mentioning, the remains of those things. But you know that from the satellite they have found a huge construction that is under the sea now, near the Gujarat, at the shore of the Gujarat. There. So we can understand the Krishna at the time of Mahabharata, all these things were there. And before that also the Mohenjo-daro and Harappa and all this. One gentleman, he came, he and his wife, though they are not historians, but somehow they have taken up and they have spent their own money to research on the yoga, particularly where from the yoga came, which is the main the source from where the yoga is coming, etc. They went to all the places. I have not seen that. They have brought out a CD and they are asking me to see that. I will see. And if that is there, because they were telling so many wonderful things are there, we do not know. Many of the things are still not there. And another thing they were telling that in the Middle East, mostly, it was afterwards, it became all dry. The river Saraswati, it went dry and covered by the sand. So all big deserts, maybe someday below the desert something will come out. We do not know. Most of the things were there in that area. It may come up. We do not know. And they were claiming, if I find something interesting, I will surely show it to you. The CD is with me, and yesterday only that gentleman came. Yeah.
Swamiji, it is mentioned that there is a lot of science in Atharva Veda, and they try to interpret that in the old Sanskrit. Some of the scholars science of knowing communication, like Ravana's aeroplane going and then talking to each other, etc. And it was mentioned that a lot of these writings and the part of Veda has been taken to Germany, and only some portion was available in India, etc. That's what I heard. I don't know how.
I don't know. So we should not say that it was taken to Germany. Then Germany could publish, because most of the books that was published, the Vedas that was translated in the first in German language, and the German savants like Max Muller and all, they were the first people who took interest to publish it in modern languages, English and other languages, foreign languages. It is there. But another thing, when they mention that the Ratha that they used to go, the Ramachandra came back from Sri Lanka, and in 1 hour or 2 hours he reached, and it was coming down on the villages and then taking the people, again flying. Only one was remaining. Not that everybody was having that. If it is a imagination, they could say there were so many other also flying. Pushpak Ratha, they have given the name. The Pushpak Ratha, and it is flying, and then it could take the. So I wonder, why not many? And person who was owning that, the owner of that Pushpak Ratha was the Kubera. The Kubera was the most richest person in that time. So it is obviously the rich person, maybe he was having, and it is so costly, no other could, not even the kings like Ramachandra could have that. But unfortunately, I do not know whether they mentioned it or not, no details of the craft is there, and the flowery language they used in such a way. That is the problem. The wonderful languages they used, but not the technical details. So how used to work, and whether it was having any. Of course, it was having something. By that, it could go up and move and all this. That is not there. That is very unfortunate. But anyway, all that I am mentioning, it is from a book that was published a long back in 1920 by the University of Calcutta. They researched and then published. And from there, I am trying to give this idea. So when we find that the mythological gods, whom we think the mythological, if they are historical, and this is very interesting, they lived like us, but their life was exalted. So we started giving them, considering them as the Devas. The more we consider as the Devas, the more the year passes, it goes on and on in a different way. Look at the Christian way of giving the sainthood. They give the sainthood not by considering or all through when he or she was living the wonderful life that particular person he lived. Not that that is in consideration. It is only miracles that he has done after he is passing away. Why? Why not the person when he is living and wonderful work and the thought that he has given to the society for the betterment of the society? Why don't you consider that? Only all these things should be that after the passing away, when he is no more, what type of miracles he is doing, so he is a saint. Is it not very? The people should think in this way, huh? Yes, there is a mention here in the Rig Veda. They say these particular branches are the two sons, whom they call the Daityas. Now we consider Daitya because one type of propaganda we can say the Devas are the best, Daityas are the bad. Not that. They were also good people, strong people, and they bifurcated. One remained in the north, another came down to south. And here we will find when the Devas and Daityas are fighting, when the north Daityas were vanquished, they were defeated by the Devas, then the south, these Daityas came, and the southern people, they were brothers of the northern people to the king, and they fought Mahishasura was belonging to from the south. So this will come in the next day. If I all mention today, next time you won't come. So, thank you. Let us chant the mantra and then we will conclude. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mriturma amritam gamaya Aviravi ma edhi Rudrayate dakshinam mukham Tenamam pahi nityam Om Shanti 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 Hari Om